What's up, guys? On today's episode, we are so excited to talk to Ray with Nashville Flippers. So excited that he's going to come, bring the information for us, and give us a little peek into his business. So, Ray, thanks for jumping on here and doing this with us.
For sure. Thank you so much, Rob and Melissa, for having me. If you don't know, my name is Ray, one half of the Nashville Flippers. My brother-in-law, Dustin, and I, we've been reselling part-time for around 5 going on 6 years now. So we're really excited. I'm really excited to be on your guys' show and talk reselling.
Awesome.
So fun. We actually got to be on your YouTube live last night. So that was really fun to talk to you. So now we get to ask you stuff about your business.
Yeah.
So.
I love it.
It's gonna be fun. So give us you and your brother-in-law are doing this together and you're doing it part-time. So tell us, how did you get started in this, in the flipping?
Sure. I know that the origin story between Dustin and I, they're different, but kind of similar. We interweave paths, but as you can see behind me, I have boxes and boxes of these sneakers that are sitting in my in my office. So the first introduction to eBay for myself was I'm a huge sneaker collector, right? So back in the day, I had all this sneakers and I'm like, man, I need to get rid of some of this stuff. What's the best way to do it? And that's where I discovered eBay. So I started reselling my personal collection on eBay, used sneakers, just trying to get rid of them, making money or whatnot, right? So I did that, completely forgot about eBay for a long time. And then about 6 years ago, I remembered, hey, I need a you have all this stuff that's coming out of your bank account each month, your gym membership, your Netflix, and all this random stuff that comes out. I'm like, I need to find something to kind of pay for all this stuff that comes out every month. And I'm like, well, I can sell stuff on eBay, but what do I have to sell? So really easily, I would go to Five Below or the dollar store and scan stuff on eBay and just see if I can make $5 on an item. If something costs $5, if I could sell it for $18, I'm like, man, I can do this and sell the same thing, and my Netflix subscription, my gym subscription would be paid for the month, right? So I started doing really well on that, and then it just grew into yard sales and Amazon liquidation stores. And I told my brother-in-law, hey, I'm making this much money doing this on the side. Let's do this together. Let's try this. You need to try this. And so he's like, okay, let's do it. And then we did reselling for about 1.5 years, and we were doing really well. And I told Dustin, I'm like, I want to tell as many people as possible that they can make this much money just doing it part-time. And so that's when we started a YouTube channel, and it evolved into TikTok, Instagram page, a podcast. So yeah, that's just kind of snowballed into what it is today.
That's awesome. And I've never heard that type of take. But it's an amazing, it's a cool tweak. Hey, I have these subscriptions that are coming out every month. How can I pay for those subscriptions with flipping? Dude, that's amazing. I love that. That's so cool. Such a mind hack that you can think about, and that'll get you kind of your goals to get started. And then you progress from there.
Grow to a car payment.
That's awesome.
Market.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's
because
so
it's
awesome.
man, I don't want to give up my WWE network subscription, but it's find different ways to pay for it.
I think that is a kind of the way we think too about it. Instead of cutting back, keep cutting, you can only cut back so much before you don't enjoy anything anymore. You still have to be able to enjoy life. So then just have to make a little bit more to enjoy those little things.
For sure.
And which platform did you start with? Did you say?
We like eBay. eBay is their number one. I mean, I would say 99.8% of the stuff that we sell is on eBay. We do a little bit of Facebook Marketplace just for the bigger items that we might pick up. But, eBay's our bay, that's our bread and butter right there.
Yeah.
So you started out with shoes. Are you still doing shoes, or what? Where's your bread and butter?
And that's back to finding things to flip to purchase things that you want. So I still collect shoes here and there, but I don't necessarily resell shoes. I mean, I can go to a thrift store or a Amazon bin store or a Goodwill bin store, and I know what shoes to pick up, which really helps. But we don't really specialize in reselling shoes.
Okay.
We could, but just, the shoes that are reselling for a lot of money, it's not like it was back in the day. Before, I remember waiting in line and guaranteed the shoe that I want, my size. Now it's like you have to put in an app, win a lottery, and it's like you may profit maybe $50 after it's said and done. So yeah, I like wearing them. I don't necessarily like reselling the hype sneakers, if you will.
The sneaker selling business that's a crazy one to get into.
It's a
Intense.
monster for sure.
So do you have anything else that you do, like you specifically look for it now, or what are you
drawn to?
Exactly.
For finding things to resell, like what are we drawn to?
Yeah.
I mean, Dustin and I, we're 36-year-old millennials, right? We grew up in the 90s. So any nostalgic 90s thing that we are drawn to it just because that's what we like to resell. Video games and Pokemon cards and collectible toys. And, you see a Kermit the Frog right here, like things like that, like really, really get our juices going. So if we can find that 90s nostalgia or anything that reminds us of what we were when we were kids, that's really like what we like to sell and makes us feel good. But we have to remember that not everybody likes that stuff. So, a lot of, I don't know, just random stuff that we'll just find to make a buck on is completely fine,
Cool.
Yeah, we like it's vintage now, back from whenever we were kids.
No,
So
I like the word nostalgic better though, because we've been saying,
exactly.
it doesn't sound as old as vintage like you usually refer to it. So I really like that.
You got that Game Boy not that long ago. You were really excited about like a game. You still have it?
I do. I have a couple Game Boys.
To show the
My
kids?
problem is I like that stuff. I have a hard time selling it because it brings me back to my childhood. And I'm like, I want to collect this and let my kids play it. I don't really want to get rid of it. So
yeah. The good thing about finding that stuff is, like I have a couple like inbox, I have a Super Nintendo and like a Sega Genesis, like complete inbox I would find like at a yard sale. And I would never find any of that stuff unless I would buy it on eBay. So it's a good way to find some of the stuff that you never had when you were a kid. So
that's awesome.
So when you were starting out 6 years ago, you said about what did you know the shoes, so that's why you wanted to start, or did you just branch into the different things and learn the different items? Because it can be overwhelming. That's where a lot of people, when they're trying to start, they get overwhelmed by
they don't know
there's all these things that I can look up. I could be here for days looking up items. Like, where do I even start?
I say, start what you know. So we knew about shoes. We knew about our childhood, if you will. So we know that, okay, this Hey Arnold collectible Funko Pop may sell from, just things that but what really the big game changer. So we live in Nashville. There's a Amazon distribution center in Lebanon, Tennessee, where it's like 30 or 40 minutes away south of us. So there's these Amazon liquidation bins, like they're popping up everywhere around Nashville, right? So we found one 20 minutes away from us. We went there for the first time and we were completely hooked. We've never been into a Goodwill bin place, any kind of bin store. So we've been going to that every Saturday for the past 6 years, different ones. And you just dig and hopefully you find something that's profitable, and we just scan it or look it up. So it's easy to kind of do that, and not waste a lot of time, because again, we do work full time. So we have to make sure that we maximize our time the best way that we can, and not just go to a thrift store every moment of every day, hoping to find something that's profitable. On a Saturday morning, if it's a good Saturday morning, we can easily net 2K every time between the two of us,
Yeah.
And then have the rest of our Saturday free to do whatever we want.
Wow.
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
So we've never been to Amazon bins. I didn't even really know. I knew of the Goodwill bins, but I never knew Amazon had bins. That's really, and they probably are everywhere, really.
They're in the South, mostly because of the labor laws and regulations and stuff. It's a little better. And whenever someone purchases something on Amazon, and we've all done it, we've bought the wrong thing or something happens, it gets returned and they can't resell it, so it gets liquidated to the highest bidder. And they also have Target shelf pools, Walmart shelf pools, anything that is in clearance and didn't really sell, it gets liquidated into these places. And we found I found iPhones in there, iMac computers, Bose headphones, iPhones, iPads, everything you can think of, we found in those bin places.
How do they price it? So it's in a bin, and do you pick it, and are there individual prices per unit, or how do they price it?
Everything depending on the store. We go to a couple ones. There's 3 of them in particular. One of them is $5. Everything in there's $5 on the day that they restock, and throughout the week it gets cheaper. So by the Friday, everything's like a quarter, but by then there's really not anything worth picking up. But there's like $5 ones, there's $7 ones, $8 ones. The better ones, I've seen some up to $15 an item, that's a little much for me. But I'm trying to think of something recently that we found. I know if you go to our Instagram page and if you go to our TikTok, we have the largest following on there on TikTok. I post constantly things that we find in there, and I found an Xbox One there one time, brand new, still in the box, for $5. We have a whole YouTube video about it, and a lady there was looking for one for her boyfriend, so she just gave me, I think it was like $300, and I just gave it to her. She was hoping to find it, and she didn't find it, so she just gave me the money, and that was like
money,
and I didn't even pay for it. Think about that. So it was just the finding fee. Last Black Friday, this store had 2 PlayStation 5s. They posted on their social media, and I was the first one in line, and I completely missed it. It was like right in front of me, and I completely missed it. And it's the video that I filmed. It just hurts me every time because I can see it in the footage. It's right there, and I pick up another box, and someone just came by and swooped it right up, and I was the first one in line. So I'm like, man, I'm guaranteed to get this PlayStation 5.
How early did you have to get there to get
it was pretty early. It was pretty early. It was not Dustin, but my other brother-in-law. We're having Thanksgiving dinner, and I also got him into doing it part-time, making extra money. And I'm like, hey man, do you want to just go ahead and go and wait in line? He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So we spent the night in the car in the front of the store. We were there when they closed, so they knew that we were in front of the store. And when they opened, we were still there. And it was painful to watch me miss that PS5 just sitting there in the bin and completely neglected.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's rough.
Because you have the video, you replay it over and over.
Yes, and over again.
What about big stuff? So do they do any, like the bins? I know it's called the bins, but do they have any like the larger items that they have returns on and liquidate, or is that a different whole another
I think that might be they do have like furniture and stuff, but they put it separate and they price it individually.
Okay.
Which is still a pretty good deal.
Okay.
But it's just like individually priced. Like this, but the $7 bin store that we have, one day they had pallets of karaoke machines, with like the TVs and stuff, but they individually priced those because they knew that eventually they were going to sell. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we can't put $7 on this thing. We got to put at least $100 or something on there. But they do have like furniture, and I think they had a pallet of like power wheels. So they built them all, they put them all together, and they put prices on them and stuff.
Okay.
So.
Okay, interesting.
I have to go check these
out.
Heck
yeah.
Now we gotta go to Goodwill bins, we gotta go to the Amazon bins. We gotta find all
Amazon bins for sure. The trick for people, they always ask is, what's the trick? How do you find the profitable items at these Amazon bins? The key is to follow them on social media, figure out how the store works, and then be there. Probably want to be the top 50 in line, right?
Okay.
And even if you're the first, like the story that I just told you, you're not guaranteed to get that big ticket item. I've seen people way in the back of the line find like iPhones, and the key is to not just, you bring your IKEA bags, or you bring whatever, grab what you think is profitable, throw it in your bag, and you can look it up later and just keep it moving,
Good tip.
Because you can always put it back. You can't, you don't want to stop and look at it and try to scan it or figure out what it is, because then all the good stuff is already getting picked up.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a great tip.
Yeah. What is one of your most memorable, besides the missing the like memorable flips that you have done?
I would say one day I think Dustin actually found a Samsung phone that day, but one day we went to our $5 bin store, and I found probably, you know, those Cabela big buck hunting games with
Yeah.
it comes with the gun. So I found it came with the gun and then the Nintendo Switch game. I found 4 of those, right? And some guy bought all 4 of them. I think he's bought them to sell on Amazon because they were brand new. And then the same day in the same bin, I found these. You guys have kids, so you probably know what this is. Those Owlet sock monitoring systems for like a baby.
Yeah.
So another tip: any packaging that you see that kind of Bluetooth links to your phone, throw it in your bag every time. So I didn't know what it was. So I found this thing and I'm like, what is this? I knew what it, I knew it linked up to your phone. So in the same bin, there was like 5 of them. So I just threw them in my bag and I pull it out. And there's a lady next to me and she's pregnant, like really pregnant. And she was like, oh, you found one of those? I've been looking to get one for my baby. She's like, how much do you want for it? I don't know, give me $50 or give me $100. I didn't know how much it was at the time. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you're pregnant. I'm not, I just found it, give me $100. She gave me $100. I handed it to her. I looked it up. It's like a $350
Wow.
thing.
Wow.
So the $100 paid for all the stuff that I had. And then all the rest of the $350. So that was probably one of my biggest finds.
That's a fun one.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So where do you keep store all of your stuff? I can see
I have a garage.
Okay. So
I have a garage with all the packing supplies and all that stuff in there. This is my home office, if you will. So I have a listing station that I'm sitting right here. So anytime I want to come in here and list, and then I have another listing station in the garage, just because it's easier to bring in the inventory, list it, and then put it away. But if I have smaller items, maybe, like little action figures or something, I'll just throw it in a bag and I'll do it here while I'm watching YouTube videos or listening to a podcast or whatnot.
Yeah, that's good to have a system. And I think having a space helps so much where you actually can take your pictures, get it listed, than having to always have to clear out an area to do it. I think
that sounds like a disaster.
Yeah,
I can't imagine having to do that every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What on average do you have, like, as far as items listed? Like how many?
How many?
We're always curious, like, volume.
We do this part-time. So I think I currently have around 500 items listed.
Okay.
For us, I think it's good because I like to keep everything moving.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm in the selling business. I'm not in the storing business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to keep it in, keep it out. And I don't know how many items Dustin has. I think it's probably less, if not around the same.
And how much on average are you selling? Monthly?
Like items or what? Like
money,
the price
like
point?
monetary, yeah.
Per my, what is it? Cost per item, I think it's around 40 to 30, which that's kind of like where I want to be, because it's easier for me to sell a $30 item than sell like a $100 item. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So especially if I'm getting it for $5, that's easy flip all day.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
but I love finding those $100 items. Don't get me wrong.
They are fun. And you're doing this all just in your garage, which is awesome, because a lot of time people think that you have to go right away, go get a storage unit or go, and no, like you do with what you have. So yeah.
That's awesome for sure. That's really cool.
Can you think of any bad buys? Like bad
bad buys.
You thought were going to be amazing?
Well, I haven't processed this buy. Saturday, and this is really new. So I had a coworker that recently retired. Well, she's been retired for like a year, and she hit me up. She's like, hey, I know that you resell. My grandson's getting rid of all of his Nerf guns, right? I don't know anything about Nerf guns, not anything about Nerf guns. And I'm like, would you like to buy these Nerf guns? I'm like, well, send me a picture, whatever. She sent me a picture of a huge pile of Nerf guns. I think there was like 50 Nerf guns, right?
Wow.
Different sizes, crossbows, things like that. And I'm like, okay, how much do you want for the Nerf gun? She's like, give me $100 and you can take all of them. And I'm like, okay, if I sell each Nerf gun for like $10, I'm going to be making a profit. So it's a risk because I don't know anything about Nerf guns. So hopefully that's not going to be my worst buy, because I still have to process like 50 Nerf guns and I'm not looking forward to it. and it doesn't excite me. And I know there's so many parts and moving pieces, and some of the Nerf guns may be broken, because they're like, some of them may need batteries. So hopefully that's not my worst buy.
Hopefully not a bust. Yeah, that's cool though.
Hopefully not a bust. But a good thing about going to an Amazon bin store or Goodwill bin store is that your risk is really low, because your price point is low.
For sure.
$5, I can lose $5,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Plus the way you're doing it, you're throwing it into a bag, you're checking it before you buy it.
Mhm.
So it's really hard to lose that money, even though it's only $5, because you're checking it
Exactly.
before. So that's cool for sure.
I'm curious how you work full time. You're doing this,
Mhm.
you're reselling part time, but you're also doing videos and podcasting. That stuff takes a lot of time. Like we know that
It does.
that probably takes more time than the actual reselling
does.
sometimes. So,
Well, I took art for school, right? So I got to, piddle with Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, some editing software, all that stuff. So I kind of know a little bit, like, going in.
yeah.
So it wasn't, the barrier of learning wasn't as large, if you would say.
Right.
And people need to always be educating yourself on how to easily do things. So for instance, the podcast that we filmed yesterday, it was live. So that's content that's live. People can go back there and watch it. So it's a pre-recorded video, if you will. I'll take the audio, I'll put it up, and then on the same thing, I'll take little snippets of that, and then I'll put it into a 9:16 and put it on TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatnot. So same thing with YouTube videos. I'll take little clippets, and then I'll make a video. Or if I'm at a thrift store, I'll quickly just take a video, and then later I'll put it together on my phone and do a voiceover or whatever. And I've gotten really good at it. So it takes time. So there's different avenues and tips and tricks to kind of maximize your time as best as possible.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the more you do, just like you're saying, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, the better, the quicker you get, the more efficient you get with it. So that's cool.
So are you doing most of your listings like in the evenings after work, or?
I do the majority of my listing. I try to list, and this doesn't always happen, at least 5 things a day, which again, this doesn't always happen. But the majority of my listings is I do it on Saturday is really like my reselling day. So try to list everything that you purchased that day on Saturday. And then if there's anything spilt over, I try to do as minimal as possible on Sundays, just because that's the day of rest. We really don't want to do a lot on Sundays. So, but have fun on a podcast, late Sunday evening, But I try to not do as much on Sunday. If anything, we'll list a couple things that are left over for Saturday. And shipping wise, either I'll come home and I'll ship, get everything ready, or before work, I'll get everything ready and do my thing. But
that's awesome.
That's cool.
You got a great system.
A nice system for sure.
Yeah,
that's
we try
awesome.
to take
I don't have any kids yet. So that does help. So I know that, that does help.
But they also, I mean, it does throw a little more into the mix, but they also know, like, they see him packaging stuff. They see him like trying to get them to start listing. I'm like, man, when our 9-year-old gets to where she's getting close, where she could really do listings for us, we could pay her to get some stuff listed.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Amazing. What a great skill set to learn how to do this stuff. So
for sure.
So that'd be fun.
I had a family friend. We did he wants to get into like video recording and stuff. So I'm like, hey man, come with me. I'm going into this Funko Pop, like a pop swap, they call it, where you can change out, meet different people in the community and kind of see their collections and buy, sell, and trade. I'm like, why don't you film me going around asking people questions? And he's like, okay, cool. And I'll buy you lunch, and you can buy whatever you want there, right? He's like, I think today he's a freshman now, but before he was like in 8th grade. And his skills are so off. And I'm like, which that was a mistake on my part, because I never told him, okay, you need to hold the camera this way, make sure you're not too shaky or whatever. I figured, what they said when you assume something, so I just gave him the camera and I'm like, just point and shoot, but he didn't know how to do it. So the footage was extremely shaky, but hopefully down the road, he can be our video guy, so we can always have somebody recording us while we do stuff. So that's the ultimate goal.
That's awesome.
Need to get one of those, the steady things.
What are the
for-
gyros or
yeah, that like takes
Oh,
the shaking out.
I don't know
It
what
was
it's called.
well, see, I did it on my so I was interviewing people at the time, so I had like this Rode microphone, so
Okay.
so it was connected to the DSLR,
Oh,
and so it wasn't like a GoPro or anything, so it was very jittery back and forth, but he's learning. He's
that's
learning.
cool.
It's a great skill set to learn too. Like all
Exactly.
this
And
stuff
that-
it will help
yeah.
them out for
Yeah.
sure in the future because it's all electronics
Yeah,
and all this
for
digital
sure.
stuff.
Well, Ray, we want to be respectful of your time. We greatly appreciate you doing this. Where can people find you? Definitely let us know. We'll put some links below for sure. But where's the best place people can reach out and hook up?
Yeah, for sure. So of course, you guys, if you want to learn, if you want to check us out, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Nashville Flippers. Follow us on TikTok, the Nashville Flippers, Instagram, the Nashville Flippers. And if you want to listen to our podcast, it's called This Week in Reselling, available everywhere you can listen to podcasts.
Awesome. We'll definitely have all those links in the show notes so you guys can check them out and definitely go follow them on your favorite platforms.
Heck yeah.
So-
Ray, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Melissa and Rob, for having me, and take care, guys.